Lads, we're back again. UFC 316. We are here for obviously Merab versus Sean 2. No one understands why this got a rematch. I don't understand it. You don't understand it. Let's move ahead. Sean O'Malley has beaten no one and has gotten a rematch. I'm just going to get this out of the way because I actually don't have either picks in this video. But if you were to ask me, I would say Merab Dvalishvili wins back his title. I just don't have him here because there's something in me telling me Sean might upset it, but I'm not that confident on Merab. But look, we'll get down to the lock. I'm not going to talk too much about last week. That was a mess. Dvalishvili should have won the lock. We should have broke the streak, but unfortunately he decided to do the one thing his corner told him not to do and jumped straight onto his back, fell onto his back, sat in guard, couldn't get up. Simple as that. Nothing that bad. Realistically, there was no locks. There was only two of the actual possibilities that fought. Trevin Giles and Messi Barber both went. Barber had a seizure and Giles, I think, cracked his head open on weigh-ins or something along those lines. But look, we'll get down to the lock. I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's just get down to the lock.
The silent assassin, Luque!
And yes, lads, we are going to lock Vicente Luque. Now, I don't understand these odds. I don't. Don't get the line. 9-4, about minus 275, or maybe 325, I think it would be, or maybe 3. It's about close to 300, 325 for my American viewers. Look, Kevin Holland is a weird one because Kevin Holland does this so much in his career, it's kind of becomes a bit of a meme and a joke now. But at 170, Kevin Holland is obviously quite good at 170. If he stays at 170 and doesn't push for 125, he's good. But all the same time, there's a clear pattern to Kevin Holland's career now at this rate. He'll win one, lose two, win one, lose two. It's because I think he just kind of wins one to stay in the UFC roster. They aren't going to cut him as long as he keeps winning at least one fight. He got a fight tonight against Gunnar Nelson. I don't think it was exactly a great performance. I said Kevin Holland would win that fight. But Gunnar's very one-dimensional. If Gunnar can't take you down, then you have no real danger. Gunnar's never really had the strike in. He did look like the fresher man. I thought Kevin Holland gassed a tiny bit coming into the third round. Definitely not the same, fast Kevin Holland that we're known to see. Now, I'm picking Vicente Luque because, again, I should have picked Vicente Luque before to hit the easy lock. I lost money, stupid of me, I'm not doing it again. Him against Thais Gambo, I should have got that. He submitted Thais Gambo. If we look at it, if we're being realistic, Vicente Luque has only lost to Jeff Neal, Brel Muhammad and Buckley in his last few fights. Out of his last fucking... and they were 3 years ago and a year ago. Currently, Joaquin Buckley is top 5 going to fight for the belt. Jeff Neal is also in the top 15. And Brel Muhammad was the champion. I don't see any issue with any of those losses. And to be honest with Kevin Holland, I just think he outworks Kevin Holland. Very easy to submit if it hits the mat. And I think Vicente Luque got that quite quickly. I do think Kevin Holland gives him a fight. Of course I do. I'm not going to act and sit here like Kevin Holland isn't a good fighter. He clearly is. But the main issue that I have is every time he steps up in quality, this is another top 15 fight. I see Vicente Luque take this one. I think Vicente Luque actually either guillotines or Anaconda chokes him in the second round. I'm going to say second round submission by Vicente Luque. And yeah, we'll move on to the favourites. Right, next we go into the favourites. Now, the favourite ACA this week's a bit weird. It is a bit kind of strange to me. I find it hard to make this because there isn't a lot of favourites on this card. And some of them are questionable. Like Marcel Quales in the first fight. I was tempted to pick him, but then he could lose to anyone. He wasn't good in his last performance. He scraped the decision to where he done basically nothing. Either did either man. He just landed one elbow that got him more damage and scraped the decision. It's nothing impressive. That's why I couldn't pick him. I'm not confident enough on Kong Wang after being submitted so easily. She did beat Bruna Bazil and look good. It's just, it seems to be if you could catch her on kind of moments where she's getting too confident, you could submit her and take her down. It's another one why I'm not going to pick that. And I think they're the only real favourites. So look, we'll move into it now. We'll go with Killian Squilad, I think it's Skilid. I don't know how you say his name. Let's call him Killian. So Killian, or Quinlan actually. Sorry, it's Quinlan. Quinlan, he knocked out Acer Jubilee in 19 seconds. I took out Gage Young on the Contender Series. He's coming in here fighting Yalal Azmand. So that's the Israeli man who knocked out Sam Patterson, who has power in his hands and is very dangerous in the first few minutes. I can just see this being a straight fire fight. Two of them just firefighting on the cage. I think Quinlan lands the higher damage. I think he knocks him out in the first round. I think this is a first round stoppage. I think Quinlan catches him on the cage. I think they just go blow for blow. I understand it's a bit of a mad line to have at 2 to 11 after the man only beat Acer Jubilee, but at the same time, I'm not going to go against the man. I do have confidence that this is just going to be a first quick 60-minute, maybe 2-minute firefight. Both of them go for it. One hits the mat, and I'm going to say it's going to be Asmund. So next we're moving to Chaos Williams. Now for me, Chaos Williams is a weird one because again, I had Trevin Giles to beat Gustafsson. I still believe that Gustafsson is this Contender Series fighter who comes onto the Contender Series or comes off the regional scene, who just literally swings like a baboon is the best way to say it, kind of like KSI in his boxing career. He just plants the feet and swings wildly with overhands. He catches it, you go down, he has power, fair enough, but I think against a top guy kind of like Chaos Williams just make it dirty. I believe that Chaos Williams will come in here, grapple, get him up against the cage, make it dirty, make it fucking just unpleasant to be in there for 15 minutes. I don't see a finish coming in this fight. I see Chaos Williams winning it by a majority decision. I won't say 30-27, I said 29-28 split. I'd say that Chaos just probably takes him down maybe once or twice in round 2 or 3, just holds it for long enough, lands enough damage, just kind of sway the judges in his opinion. I don't think realistically either of them have great stand-up. Chaos Williams doesn't really, he's a bit chinny, but also at the same time, Gustafsson literally just plants his feet and just throws wild overhands. It's not really any form or any real technique. It's one of those things where plant the feet, swing like a madman. You might land, you might work. It works in the regional scene. Not sure it works against someone in the top sort of echelon in the UFC, but I'll go Chaos Williams to take a 29-28 just from his grittiness, veteranness, and just being able to just basically make it dirty in there. I'd say his takedown defense will probably help him inside this fight. I'd say he'll probably be able to stuff a few if Gustafsson shoots late, and I'd say Gustafsson will more than likely probably gas because he hasn't really gone to the distance too much on the regional scene. Gustafsson has gone to 3 decisions on his whole career, and that doesn't really fill me with a lot of confidence fighting something like this. He gets so many early and like stoppages in the first and second round. I just see him maybe blowing the gas tank, trying to get a performance bonus or trying to get the name out there to where Chaos Williams just takes over. Next, we're going to Sergey Spivak. Now, Spivak's a weird one because every time I already locked him this year, and Thomas Almeida came in and knocked his block off. So it's a weird one to me because he can beat the lower class heavyweights. He just struggled against the top heavyweights. I don't think this fight's going to be much difference. He is a bit chinny, but Waldo Acosta only has real power for about the first 5 minutes of the fight, and then he starts to gas, then he loses the power, then it's just... I think it might turn into one of those type of heavyweight fights where it's two kind of unskilled guys going against each other after 5 minutes. But I see Sergey Spivak getting a second round submission. But give me a double of Spivak and Luque, both by submission. I'm going to take that on a double. I say both these submit, both in the second round personally. I think that Waldo Acosta basically punches himself out. Spivak gets him down. Probably an arm triangle. I'd say he gets on top mount, probably outlocks an arm triangle, maybe an arm bar, something like that, kind of the way he took out Marcin Tubula. I don't think that there's really much between them and this fight. Definitely the grappling goes to Spivak. Waldo Acosta has the better damage for about 5 minutes, and then it will probably just go pretty even, but I'm going to take Spivak. Then we go into Patchy Mix, no love. He's the Bellator champion who recently signed, obviously, with the UFC. He was one of the best bantamweights outside of the UFC, and he's coming in here to fight Mario Batista. Now, I believe that Mario Batista is getting very, very lucky to be up this far in his career. He didn't win his last fight against Jose Aldo. It's very obvious. He just held him against the cage. The judges were favouring him that night. He is 15-2, and he has basically beaten a lot. He's beaten Damon Blackshear, Ricky Simone, and Jose Aldo, but they're all by decision. And once he goes against a good fighter, I don't think, like, once he goes against the top echelon of the division, I do think that it will just crack. I do think Patchy Mix actually finishes him. I do think that he gets him late in either Probably say late in the third round. I say catches him on the feet late in the third round, because I do say that this is going to be Mario Batista trying to hold another fighter where it's not going to work. He's going to actually be able to get out and mix it up on the feet. And Patchy Mix definitely has the better striking between the two of them. There's no real doubt. And I think the grappling's very similar. I just think Patchy Mix takes him out. I think he finishes him. I think it's a 15-minute, maybe a bit of a slug, because you're fighting Mario Batista. It's kind of hard not to say that you're going to have a 15-minute slug fighting Mario Batista now, to be honest. But Patchy Mix should be able to get the finish, and I think he'll get it late on in the third. So we'll go into the underdogs. So the underdogs, I'm going to actually pick 3 people that most people probably wouldn't even look at. I believe that these are probably some of the best options. But we will start with Kevin Gastelum. Now, I was going to lock, and I already have locked Kevin Gastelum this year, but of course he didn't get his fight because Joe Pfeiffer decided to call Mexico a shithole because he got food poisoning or got sick or something. I can't remember what it was, but he called Mexico, basically he got food poisoning, called Mexico a shithole because he got sick. I still think what I said originally in that part, which I nearly just played right here, King Calvin Gastelum, is because of Calvin Gastelum's stream. As I'm looking at right now in Tapology, he's never lost by KO, and to be honest, the main fight with body bags that I'm going to reference Joe Fife's here was definitely his fight with Jack Hermanson, where if you can take his powerful shots, he doesn't have a second game plan, and I don't think you can teach this person to wrestle effectively. What I'm thinking is, if the shots don't take him down in the first 2 to 3 minutes, shooting's going to become a thing from Fifes, and I think the gas tank's going to wear. I think it's just going to go, because even if you look at his realistic fights, not many of them have gone to decision. Actually, none of them in the UFC have gone to decision. It's besides the Hermanson fight that he lost. He's finished everyone else. My main issue is I don't think he can knock Gastelum and finish him. I think Gastelum will stay a strong wrestler throughout and won't be taken down or give up his back in any real position. Gastelum's career is a bit kind of sad now at this rate, because after his fight with Izzy, I would have thought Gastelum would have went out and fought for a title, but then obviously, he jumped up in competition, lost that robbery to Darren Till. Don't really agree with that one. Hermanson submitted him. Then he lost to Whitaker and Jared Cannonier. Look, young guys coming up, no issue. World-class skill set from both in 2021. Beat Chris Curtis and Daniel Rodriguez. The Daniel Rodriguez fight, I didn't think he looked extremely brilliant, but I think that's ring rust just when he shook off. He still won that fight well, wrestled well. I just believe that Joe Fifes doesn't have the power. I think that because Gastelum's only ever been knocked down twice in his career, I don't see Fifes being the one to be able to knock him down. I just don't really see it. I can see Fifes landing in the first maybe 2 or 3 minutes, but once his big shots don't take him down, it's going to be, oh, what do I do now? And then his corner's probably going to say to jump on him and try wrestle. I don't think that's a smart idea. I don't see Joe Fifes being able to pick him off for the whole fight either. I can see Gastelum being able to get in and wrestle heavy, maybe even a finish Gastelum. Don't shoot me, finish Gastelum, maybe, but I'm gonna just pick Gastelum. Yeah, you heard what I said, you know what I said. I might as well use that instead of me repeating myself. But next we go into Ranson Robario. Now, I've picked Robario already to win at 7-2 this year, and I'm confident again. Russian, fair enough, cool, 14-0. He's knocked out Alonzo Manifield and Dustin Jacoby, went to decision where he's taken out Devin Clark. He's taken out a few in the UFC, but I think it's one of those things where I just don't know. It's just Branson Robario he's such a veteran. He's so gritty. Like, it's just one of these things where if this hits the mat, I don't actually think the Russian will have that much of an advantage over him. If this goes to decision, unfortunately, I do think the Russian will get the decision. I don't think this goes to decision. I think this will be one of these performances where I think Branson Robario will surprise everyone again. I think Branson Robario might get him on the ground again with another submission. I'm not going to go that bold, but I do believe that Branson Robario will be able to do enough to get this done. There might be a knockout in it, but I think if this goes to decision, maybe it'll be one of these fights where it's just so hard to really call that, maybe it'll be hard to say. But I do think Branson Robario will take this fight. I will go pretty confident on Branson Robario. And next we go on to Bruno Silva. Now, Bruno Silva, he's a dog. He's a live dog. I honestly, Josh Fan to me has shown that he's very finishable, that he's chinny. Like, again, Charles Johnson caught him with that uppercut, knocked his jaw off, finished him. And again, he's come back. He's beaten Edgar Chavez, Cody Durden, and Raya Tesora. But Bruno Silva's a fucking dog. Like, he's 14-6, but he's only lost to Merle Kopp, Tugar Ugubov and David Dobek, and that was 4 years ago in those two losses. And then obviously Moel Kep was this most recent one, where Moel Kep did actually poke him in the eye as well to finish him. But look, it doesn't really matter. I'd still say that this is a really, really hard fight, and I'd honestly say I think Bruno Silva has this on the feet in the ground here. I like Josh Fan. I do think he's good, but also a bit overrated. I do think there's time to grow in his MMA career. He's young. I just think this is going to be one of these stumbling blocks. I think Bruno Silva will show that he's the better grappler here. I think he's just going to be able to hold him down, control him, maybe even a submission. But again, Bruno Silva has the power in his hands. You can even see it in a Moel Kop fight. He was actually cracking Moel Kop and getting to one of the top of the division. Like, it's an interesting one because I'd say that Silva could submit him. I think Silva could actually be live to submit him because he's the way better grappling. He's the clear better grappling and ground advantage. I'd say if he stands in front of Bruno Silva will be able to finish him just the same way Charles Johnson did. I think that is probably what is going to happen. But yeah, we'll move into the ACA. Right, lads, so here we are now inside the ACA. So if you pick Scullion, Chaos Williams, Spivak, and Patchy Mix, that on 10 on gives you back 52. That's what the ACA is going to be. So anyways guys, if you did enjoy the video, please hit the like button. I'll be back again with all this stuff now. Hopefully the betting lands, hopefully everything goes okay, we break the streak, we finally do something in a bit. But anyways, everything I've said, I'll say next one. Peace.